Hey, what's up guys? This is Jeff with Gamestork, and we need to talk about something serious with the Nintendo Switch third-party support.
Gamestork, delivering news, reviews, and playthroughs like a newborn baby.
So here we go. Nintendo sales are skyrocketing out of control. First-party games are coming out and they're wonderful. You have indie developers putting out very high quality games at good prices, and the Nintendo Switch is off to a wonderful start. Now what we're hoping as consumers is that those big third parties will just somehow find their way onto this console. As each and every game is announced, including Darksiders 3 that was just announced, we're looking for that Nintendo Switch symbol in the bottom corner, anywhere on the screen, just a small, big, whatever you want to say, wherever they could stick it, right? But there's a harsh reality that we need to understand as we look into the 2017 reality for the Nintendo Switch. And that is that most of these developers, if not all these big third-party AAA developers, have decided to take this wait-and-see approach. Now, I have personally lost sight of this as well at some point in my excitement since the Switch's release. And I had to round myself back in, and just say, hey, you got to realize that these things take time. But let me explain. I'm getting ahead of myself. Number one, as if you didn't know this, games take quite a long time to make, to complete, to work on. So if a third party this year sees, imagine today they looked at the Nintendo Switch and they saw, hey, the Nintendo Switch is selling quite well, so I want to support that. Let's make a game. Well, the reality is they're not going to put a game out in 2017 if they decide at this point or after E3 to support the Nintendo Switch. It's just not going to happen. So all the games that are coming, as far as new things that are already in development across PS4 and Xbox One, and maybe even Steam, we're probably not going to see those on the Nintendo Switch. Now, something that did confuse me is the fact that games like Snake Pass, which do run a similar engine as most other games, which is Unreal 4, was ported over to the Nintendo Switch in about 7 days. So it made me think, hey, any of these new games that are already made, they could be ported right over to the Nintendo Switch, and it would take about 7 days. But the reality is that Snake Pass is a much smaller game in comparison to Darksiders 3, for instance. And I realistically can't say that I know too much about the transferring process, about how they'd work that over onto the console, and lots of other things. But I've come up with a solution so that we can put our hope inside of this. And we've seen from the history of Nintendo, and also evidence now from what we do have coming, that this could possibly happen. And in order for us to make up ground here, I believe that the third-party studios who decide to support the Nintendo Switch are going to begin to port over their older games, their older titles. Now, we see this with Bethesda bringing over Skyrim, and I'm super excited about Skyrim. Believe it or not, I just got this thing on sale a couple months ago when it released. I got it on sale on Amazon had like an amazing price. It was like $20. But I'm still going to purchase this on the Nintendo Switch because there's something magic about being able to take that with you. And as soon as they announced that for the Switch, I shelved Skyrim. And I said, well, I'm just going to wait so that I don't get sick of it. That's the power the Switch has over me, by the way. But other games, other ports, this could help us solve the AAA third-party problem, because there's a new mechanic on this hardware in which you can lift it and take it with you, which brings more magic to these games, and it's going to bring more and more meaning to each and every port that comes. Some notable ports that need to come are the Fallout series. This has to come to the Switch. I'm hoping to announce that this year. That Fallout 3, I would rather 3. Personally, I enjoyed it more than New Vegas. But either or coming to this console would be great. It would be really, really good. I also would love to see the first Red Dead Redemption come to this console, which would show the support from Rockstar Games, which, hey, puts hope in all of us. Now, maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't going to come out on the Nintendo Switch. Sure, we get that. but this port would show their support, and until they can create a game of their own within the next year or two, I believe that this would be a good step for them to show Nintendo fans that they're on board. Now, the reality is the third-party studios already need to take note that this console is selling very quickly. A lot of people are saying, okay, well, this month is dry and there's no games and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, there is a big game coming out this month. And it's not necessarily a console seller, I suppose, but Disgaea 5, which I plan to pick up, is a pretty big game among strategy RPG fans who have been waiting on this thing to come to the U.S. for a long time. People like me who have just been looking at it on the Japanese eShop saying, man, does it really have English? Does it really have English on it? You know, should I really get this thing? Should I really just go ahead and do that? And it's been titillating, but this month is finally coming. NBA Playgrounds finally coming this month, which is a spiritual successor to NBA Jam, which was a huge part of my childhood. I'm super excited about this game, and there are a lot of good things coming this month. But don't forget, ARMS is coming out next month, Splatoon a month after that, and then E3 will tell us the rest of the year. And if there's a big first party every single month, it's going to drive the sales of the Nintendo Switch, and I don't think it's a long shot for them to sell 12 million units plus by the end of their fiscal year, which is around next March. Now, it's interesting to me, though, that as Nintendo fans, we always do it. We seem to get our hopes up. I know one that I'm really, really hoping when it's talked about at E3 that they do announce this thing for the Switch, due to the fact that there is a close relationship between these two companies, and that is the new Assassin's Creed. Now, I think this one's vital. Ubisoft is all about Nintendo, and they really, really support Nintendo. We've seen the rumors spreading around about the Rabbids Mario game, which is supposedly out in outer space with guns and lasers and this, and it's somewhat of a strategy RPG that's turn-based. I don't know. But what I do know is that support is very important. Ubisoft makes great games, and all these games would be great on the Nintendo Switch, specifically the Assassin's Creed. And I know if they could put their Assassin's Creed game on the Wii U, that they can do it also on the Nintendo Switch. And once some of these developers get their feet down with this Tegra X1 chip, I believe that we'll be surprised to see what they actually can do on this console, because this chip is capable of rendering rather large open world games, and that's something that we need to see. Sure, it's not a powerhouse, but I believe that it could run a very large open world with lower graphic fidelity. Now, there are many, many other third-party games, lots of other games that I would love to see ported. There's almost an endless supply of things that could be ported over to the Nintendo Switch. And these companies, I believe, when they do start doing these ports, and I think this will happen this year, they're going to see a lot of success in selling their older titles, and it's also going to be a driving force behind them wanting to get their new titles on the Nintendo Switch, due to the fact that people prefer to sell it that way, or prefer to buy it that way. Imagine Puyo Puyo Tetris. Puyo Puyo came out on the PS4 some time ago, but look at the sales on the Nintendo Switch. Look at the sales on Snake Pass on the Nintendo Switch. Look at the sales on all the ones so far who's come out across consoles. They sell like crazy on the Nintendo Switch. Why? Because of the portability. Because you can lift it out of a dock and take it with you. Because you can play it everywhere. And it's not a question as to, when can I plan to get home and play this? You're only limited by where you want to play, when you want to pull out your Switch, how you want to play it. And that's that. And there's a magic to this console that the other consoles just don't have. And don't get me wrong, I love my PS4 and I love my Xbox One, but they all have a different place and offer, well, other than the PS4 and Xbox One that offer quite similar things, the Nintendo Switch offers a completely different experience. So my hope this year, as we rein this conversation in, is that Nintendo fans can be patient and realize that we're probably going to be getting ports first because of this wait and see approach. And those big third parties are going to start putting over games that may be older, but will work very well on the console and be good games to take on the go. I mean, honestly, can you imagine Skyrim on the go? I mean, Have you ever just thought about that? Like, I would love to just pick this up and take it with me. Yes, okay. Imagine Witcher 3 on the go or something. Oh my goodness, it's just so many options. But anywho, guys, I just wanted us to really kind of just think about this together. The fact that we need to have realistic expectations because of the situation, I suppose, that Nintendo's in with AAA third parties, that because of the Wii U's failure and sales, that they're waiting. And because they're waiting, we're probably not going to see that big AAA third party game until 2018. Now, there's a good possibility at E3 we might see companies say, hey, this is coming out 2018, also on the Nintendo Switch, which would be great. But I don't think that we're going to see huge games coming out this year. And it breaks my heart, but it's the truth, right? So, anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Let me know how you feel about it below. If you like what you're listening to, the best way that you can help me out is just to like and subscribe. And if you find yourself coming back for more, be sure to tell a friend. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.